So for this old school, you're going to have to multiply and divide fractions. So let's see if we can remember how to do that. So we're just going to go over that process that you've already learned, but we're going to refresh yourself. So multiplying. So multiplying fractions, 2/7 times negative 14/3. So when you're multiplying, you don't have to do anything except for just multiply across. Okay, so all you have to do is multiply across. Now you have two options, and I'll show you both on this. You can simplify at the very end, or you can simplify at the beginning. Okay, it's your choice. I'll do both, and then you pick whichever one's better for you. So let's say I simplify at the end. So I do 2 times negative 14. Well, positive times a negative is a negative, and then that's 28. And then 7 times 3 is 21. All right? Now, if you give me that, I'm not going to count it right because you need to reduce your fractions. So what number can I divide into 28 and into 21 is 7. Okay, 7 goes into both of those. So when I reduce that, that becomes negative, or 28 divided by 7 is 4 over, and then 21 divided by 7 is 3. So negative 4/3. You do not have to write it as a mixed number, just negative 4/3 is perfect, and that is how we multiply a fraction. Okay, so you can simplify at the end. Sometimes it's easier to simplify at the beginning, especially if you don't want to deal with hard numbers. So let's see this one here. We're going to simplify at the beginning. You can simplify any number on top with any number on bottom. So can I simplify 6 and 5? No, but I can simplify 6 and 9. Okay, top and bottom. What can go into 6 that can also go into 9 is 3. Right? I can reduce both of those by 3. So 6 divided by 3, this becomes a 2. And 9 divided by 3, this becomes a 3. And then you go from there. Okay? So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And then 5 times 3 is 15. And then you can see here, I can't simplify that because I simplified earlier, and I get negative 2/15. Now let's say you didn't simplify, just to show you. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. And then 5 times 9 is 45. Well, you can reduce this whole fraction by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 45 divided by 3 is 15. This honestly is the way I do it. I simplify first and then I multiply because that makes way more sense to me, especially if the numbers get big and I don't want to have to reduce a fraction at the very end. It's easier for me to simplify early. Okay? That's multiplying. Now, dividing is the exact same thing, just one extra step. Okay? So when you divide, the first thing you have to do is you have to multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal, okay? Which means I keep this first one, negative 2/11, and then instead of dividing, I multiply by the reciprocal, which means I flip that, 3/8. Multiply by the reciprocal. Now, you might have heard that as keep it, change it, flip it. Okay, that might be something that sounds familiar to you, but that's what we're doing, is we're just multiplying by the opposite there. And then we do the exact same thing that we did with multiplying. We just multiply across. However, just because I'm me, I'm going, that's not what I want at all. Sorry, guys. Or that. I am going to reduce. So I can't reduce 3 by 11 or 3 by 8. I can't reduce 2 and 11, but I can reduce 2 and 8 by 2. So I divide that by 2 and I get 1, and I divide that by 2 and I get 4. So negative 1 times 3 is negative 1. 11 times 4 is 44. So negative 1/44 is your answer there. Okay? You didn't have to do that. You could have gotten negative 6 over 88, but then you're having to simplify that fraction at the very end. Okay? So same thing here. Now I have a whole number 2. So if you have any whole numbers, just put them over 1. Okay? And we'll do the same thing. I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So 2 over 1 stays the same. My division changes to multiplication, and then I flip this. So instead of 1 over 5, it becomes 5 over 1. Alright? So then I just multiply. 2 times 5. Oh, back up. You would just look to see if you can simplify. But 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, I mean, those actually do just go away, right? So 2 times 5 is 10. And 1 times 1 is 1. However, do not give me this. Okay, I will not count that right because you can simplify this. 10 divided by 1 is just 10. So your answer there is 10. Okay, so that's multiplying and dividing fractions. Just make sure you give me as simplified version as possible. And then the last thing here is just, let's very briefly go over rounding because it's an issue for some kids. So we have that number there. I need to round to the thousandths. Now remember, if you have like decimals, so 1, 2, 3.456. This is the tenths. The next one's the hundredths. So tenths, hundredths. This is the thousandths. And then this, I don't know why that went down. This would be like the 10,000ths, but normally in high school we don't make you round that far. We normally only do tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Okay? So this is thousandths, that means 3. So 1, 2, 3, I need to round this number. Okay? You only look one behind it at the 4. Does the 4 make it go up or stay the same? It makes it stay the same. So 63.29, and then the 6 stays there. Okay? Perfectly rounded. So this next one I want to round to the tenths. So the tenths is the first one, and I look one behind there. Okay, only one. So that 4, is that going to make the 3 go up or stay the same? It makes it stay the same. So it's 0.3, and that is your answer. Where most kids mess up is they go, yeah, but Miss Melina, this 8 will make that a 5, and then the 5 is going to make it round up. Okay? No. When you're rounding, you only look one number behind, and that's it. Okay? So you have adding, subtracting fractions, you have rounding, and you also have some equations still that you need to learn how to work through. Okay? There you go. If you have questions, as always, let me know.